I grew up with the right amount of problem, the right amount of pleasure, the right amount of happiness, the right amount of worries, the right amount of fighting. Breath work will help you increase the oxygen level, the saturation level into your brain. It will give you more clarity as well by dropping the melatonin. Everything is happening with you. You are a component of the complexity of life around us.
My brother, Allaoua, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my brother. I'm very happy to see you.
So the first question is we always ask, what does freedom mean to you?
It's not an easy question, and it can have many answers. To me, freedom means that you can decide, basically. I think it has to do with the process of decision making, regardless of the consequences. I would say not be free. Maybe it's easier to explain this way. Not be free is when you are careful about the consequences of your decision and of your act, basically. I would say for me, the real freedom would be not to care so much about the outcome and do what you want to do when you feel like doing it. And I guess it's pretty rare. So that makes freedom something extremely precious.
So to have autonomy, do what you want, when you want, where you want, with who you want, right?
Yeah, and that's funny because this was the switch from me being an entrepreneur. I thought I could find freedom, but you have actually more responsibilities when you are the general manager of a company because you have responsibilities over your employees rather than working for companies. Because when you are an employee, you're focusing mainly on your career. When you're an entrepreneur, you're focusing on the development of the company, of the project, on your own development and development of whoever works to make this project grow. So you feel like the responsibility is even bigger. So there's no freedom. Being an entrepreneur is actually the opposite.
Yeah.
That's why when I switch and I focus on my own development, this is what I start finding freedom through the yoga. It was a gate. But yeah, I think it's very hard to achieve real freedom. It's possible. And I mean, we can develop the idea, but I think freedom is in your mind. It's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. You can do something as a free spirit, as a free mind, and not have the pressure.
Yeah.
That's the context can put on it,
Freedom is almost like something when we get older, you almost kind of have to earn, right? But when you're young, depending on where you grew up in your situation, most of us just grew up in it. So growing up as a child, kind of walk us back and let us know, like, if you were watching your childhood or you had to revisit it and seeing it as a movie, what would the title of it be and why?
To be honest, I really feel that I had the perfect childhood, really. I cannot be grateful enough to my parents, to God, to life, to energy, to the circumstances. So I was born in Algeria. I moved when I was 3 years old to France. My parents were always between France and Algeria. And I grew up with the right amount of problem, the right amount of pleasure, the right amount of happiness, the right amount of worries, the right amount of fighting as a teenager. I was quite really active on that. The right amount of having girlfriends, of discovering nature. I grew up in Fontainebleau, which is a small city nearby Paris. You have the advantage of being close to like a megapole, but without the threat and the disadvantage. It's a beautiful city, surrounded by trees. So I had the opportunity to grow up in very different contexts because I was hanging around with people who were coming from not necessarily a very I would say, we say in French, like défavorisé, a lot of people from the hoods, And on the other hand, in my university, in my le lycée, so in my high school, and before, it was a lot of privileged people because like this is the good thing with Fontainebleau. You usually have a lot of families who put their kids there. So you grow up with royal families. I was in a class with the royal family of Monaco. So I was doing ride horses, But at the same time, in the weekend, I was hanging with some thugs and playing football. And so it was really the perfect balance. And I really wish to give this to my sons. I have 2 sons. And the first decision that I took, I live in the Greens here, is to actually take a school where they can walk there. So to teach them freedom, autonomy, and to be independent. So he's 6 years old. I'm planning next year to let him walk alone from the house, which is not a very big distance, just to avoid these things like driving in the morning or having driver or taxi, or I really want them to be grounded, and so if I have to find a name, a title, I would say I will not change anything. That would be the title, I guess.
So what you said is interesting, right? Because you said you grew up with all different types of people: the thugs, the smart kids, the privileged. So you have, two ways that this can go. And one way, you can take the best out of everybody, right? And let that shape you, and you create your own, I guess, you take your own ingredients and cook your own recipe. But some people can get lost in that, right? Because now they're with this group and they're trying to fit in, and then now they're trying to fit in with that group. And at some point it's like, well, who am I? So like, how do you manage, these types of things? Because this is not just something in childhood. It can develop in childhood. But as we get older, I see that this can actually haunt a lot of people because they live life and they don't know who they are. They don't know what they stand for. They don't know their values, and they seem lost. But it's probably something that started from childhood.
That's a very good question. It's very true. I guess the secret is just to be yourself and not try to seduce whoever you with, right? Either if you have the opportunity to be with this group of people, you have to be accepted for who you are. So it's not about trying to make the effort that trying to pretend that you're a thug or trying to pretend that you belong to this category or this category. I guess the real key of everything is to be honest with yourself, which is extremely rare when you're kids because you don't know yourself. Right. And it's a part of the journey to explore and to see who you connect with. So I would say, relationship, you have to really focus on finding people that like you and that respect you, and not have to go out of your boundaries, your own boundaries, or the boundaries that your parents are fixing, especially in terms of fight and consumption of weird stuff, and because this was worldwide, especially in France. You really pushed to do this, to drink alcohol, to do that, to even worse. So just try to find. I mean, I've learned that. I guess that was what I believe I took the best of all. Is because I was really putting from the early age a focus on being myself, understanding who am I, that I'm still figuring out because it's a long journey. But not letting either the bad influence from one side or from the other side like taking over. That's freedom.
Yeah. And now coming back, after childhood, obviously, I'm sure you had goals, you had dreams, you had a lot of things to do. One thing that I truly believe in life, that there are no heroes without setbacks. And the bigger the setback, the bigger the hero. And we all get tested in a certain way, right? And for you, it was a matter of life and death. At a young age, you got a heart attack at a very young age.
31.
How did that experience shape you?
It was definitely the best thing that happened to me. Or I made it the best thing that happened to me, because it was a calling from my body that I was taking the wrong direction, especially in terms of health and lifestyle. So I don't hate this part. I actually feel very grateful. It changed me in the sense that I started exploring my life. I thought I understood who am I and what is the meaning of life, but something was missing was my purpose. See, and I guess you start finding serenity. You have it in yoga, you have it in Islam, you have it in all the religion. Self-achievement, like even Maslow pyramid, you have all the physiological needs going up. The top of the pyramid is who you are. Your self-achievement, how you recognize yourself, I think this is what changed. I understood that everything kind of not benefit my development, but actually taking me in a storm where this will eventually happen again if I don't make a change.
Yeah.
And I made a change.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
And people forget sometimes you just need a timeout, right? Because actually, when I turned 30, a week after I turned 30, I played football, as we call it in America, soccer, my entire life. And then I break my leg, a really, really bad injury, you know, ankle turns the opposite side. So for 3 months, I can't walk. I'm, you know, stuck in between hospital and home. So at the beginning, naturally, and I'm sure probably for you as well, you know, you struggle and you ask questions. God, why me? What did I do? I'm a good person. Why did this happen? You know, you go through the phase, and then the anger, and then you accept it, and then you try to make sense of it, right? And I call it today my lucky break. Same way for you today. It's something that transformed your life. But there are a lot of people, when they experience setbacks, they never come out of it. And a lot of it is mental. So how do you transition from being in that dark place to seeing the light that can actually bring it into your life?
Yoga taught me something that I probably did at this time, but it took some time for me to understand what I did the process. So there's something that we maybe give a wrong definition. It's called ego. Ego, it's not about dignity or being proud, or like a lot of people say, this guy has ego. The understanding that I have about ego, it's a window. It's looking at things through this window. So if you start looking at things through this ego window, everything will be complicated, because you're going to self-centered whatever revolve around you into you. So what I've learned with yoga is nothing is happening to you. Nothing is happening to you. You're not the main character of the story. There's no story, right? Everything is happening with you. You are a component of the complexity of life around us. And later, some level of wisdom will make you understand that everything is happening for you. So I guess this is the phase. People who cannot take those events as something positive and make the best out of them or out of it, they are still locked into why me, why now, exactly what you said. I don't deserve that, and because you look at this window, why this is happening to me. So if you switch to, okay, this is happening, not to me, it's just happening. So how do I deal with it now? And this is what I did. That's why I changed everything, because it was a bit different. I didn't have this re-education, because I guess in your case, when you break a limb, you have like months of re-education. It was very fast. It's like 6 days in ICU, and what's going to be your life after that?
Yeah.
So it's not like, you're almost ready to carry on, but with changes. So I was not limping. I was be able to do things like, not like breaking my wrist. Something. It's your organ is broken. Not even broken. It's just like dysfunctioning. So you have to learn how to live with that. That's why it's a bit different. But regardless of what's happening, what happened to you, what happened to me, what's happening to everyone, courage. There's no courage without difficulties. See, you have to show courage when something hard happened to you. And we cannot learn into comfort zone. Just try to recall anything that you possibly learned when you were in an absolute comfort, when you were at the beach in the Maldives chilling. Did you learn anything?
Yeah.
Nothing, because it's not time for you to learn. It's time for you to enjoy. And this is life. Sometimes we learn, sometimes we enjoy. So every time something bad happens to you, it's not bad. It's not good and bad. In yoga, there's no good, there's no bad.
Yeah.
It's a perspective. There's a situation. If you restrict everything to the fact, then you will be able to have mind clarity and look at it like an helicopter on a battlefield, to take distance from the situation and observe the surrounding of the situation. Then you're not the main focus. Life goes on. Broken leg, broken heart, life goes on. So it's your ability of changing that. And then the ultimate phase, things happening for you, is using what's happened as a beneficial leverage for you to switch. And this is what I did, this is what you did, and this is what almost of the people end up doing. Because at some point, even if you feel you hit rock bottom, eventually you will have to come back because life goes on without you.
Yeah.
So either you understand fast, either wrong. So I guess that's the main thing, you know.
Yeah. So what you're saying sounds 100% accurate, and I can see everybody watching nodding their head, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when there's emotions, how do you still manage to still feel and think and do the right things when you feel, like I said before, you know, the pain is there, the anger is still there. You have all these different emotions coming at you, and you might not even understand it. And at that moment, how can you manage it enough to say, okay, I get why this is happening, and here's how I should channel this emotion so I can make the right choices and decisions?
It's a very good question. I can tell you now the best way it's meditation or prayer or anything that allows you to disconnect from what's happening a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you see clarity in this phase. Then there is a very powerful tool, breath work, will help you increase the oxygen level, the saturation level into your brain. It will give you more clarity as well by dropping the melatonin. So there is a lot of mechanism that you can get. Back in the days, I didn't know that, and I understand now, and I teach this now. So there is shortcuts. This is shortcuts. But if you're not familiar, what's happened to me is I just thought, like, did I ever take a wise decision when I was angry? No. Any decision that I was taking out of anger, I regret it. So do I want to regret it again? Okay. What make me feel better or reduce the anger? Time. You cannot be angry all the time. You're very angry because something happened to you. When you understand it's happened in general, then the anger with the time frame start dissolve a little bit, and then you'll be able to. So any emotions doesn't last too long, unless if you want to keep it. And this is what I'm teaching to people.
Yeah.
Just imagine in a nutshell, you have a backpack, all right, full of rocks. Every rocks or stones, it's an emotion that you don't want to deal with. Anger, frustration, pain, sadness, grief. I mean, every day there's something that adds to you. So it's like you're doing a hike, a journey, a climbing mountain. At some point you have to stop, open the backpack and have a look. Like, do I still need to be upset about this situation or this person? No. I'm gonna forgive. There's a solution for everything. If you're upset, you forgive, you throw the stone, you make space. If you're frustrating, you accept, you throw the stone, finish. So every emotion has a counter emotion that will be the answer. And then you look at your bag. Wow, it's half empty. So now you can walk faster because you're lighter. And plus you have space now to accept the positive emotions. Love, compassion, empathy. So it's a choice. Either you have your bag full of love and compassion and self-compassion and understanding and light, basically. Either your bag is full of crap and then it feels very heavy to carry. So this is what I advise to everyone. Yeah. How? Breathwork, yoga, meditation, Pilates, anything that allowed you to pause and pulse. Like pause, open it. I did a conference at the Global Citizens a few months ago, and I met everyone stand up, take the imaginary backpack out of the shoulder, put the bag between the legs, open it, and tell me what's inside. And it's as simple as that, but you just start recalling. Oh, I had a beef with this person. Oh, maybe it's fine now. Oh, I have this. No, I didn't get this job. I didn't get this thing. It's fine. I'll get it later. And everyone felt so good. So it's very easy. Yeah. It's not something that you need. You can do it in a few minutes.
I've heard this, and I've also personally experienced this. Mm-hmm. The times that I felt most anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, has been in between two things, right? Mm-hmm. It's either something in the past that I can't let go of. Oh, why did I do this? I keep thinking back. Why didn't I do that thing when I was supposed to do it? It's just kind of holding on to it. Mm-hmm. Or something that is in the future. Mm-hmm. And I just realized, well, wait a second, and kind of I think is what you're saying is be present. Exactly. Like if you're present and you can actually analyze the current moment and make the decisions and the choices that you have right now.
Correct.
Because there's nothing. But I feel like a lot of people struggle with this because most people, when I was a child, this happened to me. Mm-hmm. If I don't, and then they watch social media and they see what everybody else is doing and how everyone else is living, and they're like, oh, if I don't do that, if I don't accomplish that, then I'm a loser. But they don't understand today is just what you have right now. Like, how do you get people to channel and focus in the moment? I know you mentioned breathing as something, but is there other techniques?
Yeah, it's a mindset. So you said a lot of very interesting things. So let's try to go back to things one by one. What you describe, it's depression and anxiety. What's the meaning of yoga? Yog in Sanskrit, it means unity. So every human is composed of soul, mind, and body. This is pretty much the only thing that all the religion, all the spirituality agreed on. So let's use this fact, yeah? So your soul is incarnated into your body, and your body is moving through time. So every second we're getting older, right? The mind is your brain, basically. So your mind can decide to get stuck in the past. So get stuck in the past means having regrets. Usually regrets, it's make you realize that you're powerless because you cannot change it, it's already done. So this will develop sadness. And a long amount of sadness, when your mind is stuck into a lot of sadness, it starts creating a state of depression. In the other hand, if your mind starts anticipating on the future, on future events that didn't happen yet, no one can guess what's going to happen in 5 minutes, in 5 days, in 5 years. It's illusion. So you're living into a fantasy, into an illusion, into guessing. And this will create fears because the mind kind of slide towards the dark side. No one will tell you, in the next future, I'm going to be so healthy, I'm going to live 200 years old, I'm going to be billionaire, I'm going to be... We kind of always, think about I have to pay that, I have to, protect this, everything. So it's tend towards the less optimistic side. And this will create fears, a long state of fears and projection or uncertainties will create anxiety. So what you say is right, without being a yogi, but this is the fundamental of the yogi. The first sutra it's is like the surat is the concepts that goes around yoga, created or like compiled by like Patanjali. It was one of the first and most important book of yoga to understand the philosophy very simply. The first sutras, before everything, it's the present moment, yoga now. So everything that you have to do has to be stick to the present moment, where you can bring soul, mind, and body together. Prayer, meditation, breath work. That's why yoga, it's a good way to bring things together because you move. So you have to focus. If you think about what you're gonna do tomorrow, what you did yesterday, it's very hard to carry on with the flow. Same thing with the prayer. When you pray, you have to be at what you're doing. Yeah? So just give you a little break during your day when you can actually be at the present moment. And sanity in yoga, it's when you're able to keep your mind with your body and with your soul the longest period of time during the day. So someone who is sane is someone who can make it 10, 20% of his day. Someone who's not like, some people 0% for long period of time. So yeah, present moment is the fundamental of everything.
Would you say, because a lot of people talk about, I want to be happy. What brings me happy? Would you say the right word is balanced, not happy?
Alors, happy, it's not a feeling, it's a conception. Satisfy can be better. So, am I happy? Are you happy? There's a mechanism who can lead to happiness, but it's most what people call happy. In the modern world, in this fast pace, Instagram and fear of missing out, all the trauma that comes around the social network, I would say it's pleasure. So a lot of people believe that an accumulation of pleasure makes happiness, which is not true. And you can really see some people that have everything to be happy, but they're not happy. So the sense of self-achievement, of self-recognition can create satisfaction, and satisfaction can lead to happiness. Now I give you my recipe. I don't think we can really be happy. And I think it's not something that at least I'm looking for. But I don't think any human should look towards being happy. Happy, it's a moment in your day, it's a moment in your life. You have to enjoy this moment rather than frantically looking for bringing this as a permanent, status or permanent state of mind, which never gonna happen. And remember, there's no happiness if there's no sadness. You value the happy moment because you had a tough moment. So now let me tell you my secret. I believe instead of trying to be always happy, maybe you can prevent yourself of being disappointed. Because disappointment will create, it's for me the exact opposite of happiness, right? How you reduce your disappointment in life? By reducing your expectations. And that's what switched for me when I was 31, after what's happened to me when I sold my company and everything. I reduce my expectation to the point that I don't expect anything. So whatever comes, it's a bonus and it makes me happy. So you expect 100 from a situation. The relationship with someone, with your wife, with your husband, with your kids, with your work. You expect 100% from any deal. You get 99.999, right? 9999. Trust me, you'll be focused on the 0.11 if you don't get. And this will make you absolutely frustrated and sad. You expect nothing from the situation. You just explore. You just, come, see how things goes. You get 0.00011. This will make you happy. This is happiness for me. Not expecting, protecting yourself from at least disappointment, frustration, and that's what the truth. So I encourage everyone really to live life every day at the present moment and take things as it comes, rather than planning everything and then focusing on what you're not getting. Because this is, to me, a programmed failure. Expectation, it's a program failure. You can have goals, you can have objectives, but it's different. Expectation is something really like you are waiting for something. If it doesn't come, you have to deal with that.
It's interesting you say that. When I broke my leg and I couldn't walk for 3 months, one of the happiest days of my life was the day that I was able to walk again.
You see?
And I was just thinking, like, my entire life, I never stopped once to say, God, thank you for allowing me to walk. Now, do we say thank you? You say something, you see something beautiful. And there are people who can't see what you see, right? You go to a beautiful beach and there's someone who's never seen a beach in their entire life. You eat a beautiful meal and there might be someone who's never going to have that. And it's an interesting thing because it's something so simple to literally just let go. Because I think there's a theme to what you're saying, to let go, whether it's a problem, surrender, right? To be liberated. But what do you think is the reason we want to hold on to so many things? I'm only making $200,000 a year, but my friends are making $500,000 a year. I'm right? Oh, my friend is driving a Ferrari. I'm only driving it. Like, most people's problems is always because they're looking up at what everyone else has. They're looking up and seeing what they don't. And while they're doing that, they're missing out at the basic things. Because you ask any one of them, I'll give you all the money in the world, but let me just take away your health. They'll say no. But have they ever literally just bowed down and said, thank you, God? So most people, I don't know if they do that, but that's,
That's very interesting, man. And once again, there's many points. I guess this is one of the use of the religion. In France, a lot of people are losing their religion. They don't understand that what's important is that give you a framework to remind you to be grateful, because there's a superior force. So I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it just give a framework, and framework is important. Now, when you say people are looking up, I think it's a good thing to look up, right? Because it gives you motivation, give you inspiration. I think it's a human nature. If I give you $1 million now, tell me this, all I need in my life is 1 million. I give it to you. Now you need 10. You're gonna tell me all I need in my life is 10. I'm gonna give you 100. You know what I mean? So this is just keep on. So it's good. This is what pushes humans to evolve. Now is the management of emotion, that it's something that can be rather than constructive, destructive. So it's how you experience this. And once again, it has to do with emotion. Human compare. It's I think is one of the strongest feeling, or the strongest destroying feeling that I've seen, is jealousies. Jealousies as envy really can stop the wheel to turn, can stop everyone to do everything, because you're going to be obsessed with just one thing. And I guess you should heal yourself from that and accept that people are in different speed, people are in different area, and whatever you can observe in terms of success or anything, it should be a motivation for you. It should show you that it's possible rather than envy and stop doing anything. So that's why you say the word, it's balance. You have to balance with this. One monk say, we have 1,000 problems. If you're sick, you have only one problem. So just remind yourself this every day, make you realize that first, nothing is granted. Second, that you have to be grateful, even if you don't have exactly what you wish. Third, that expectation is not what you want, but you want inspiration. And yeah, I guess if you start understanding this and put this little recipe into your decision-making process, you can avoid fear of missing out, you can avoid comparison. You have this joke, where there is a guy in the desert who find a lamp of a genius, and he rubbed the lamp, the genius come out, and he said, I have limitless power. It's very exciting. He had a neighbor, so he was happy that he got the lamp. Tell him, look, I can exhaust anything, what you want, but I will give twice what you ask me to your neighbor. So the guy's like, okay, I really don't mind. He said, I'm coming back tomorrow, so make up your mind. So the guy's like, okay, I'm gonna ask $1 million, $10 million. My neighbor who didn't do anything will receive 20 or 200 million. Okay, I'm gonna ask the most beautiful wife in the world. And you're gonna have two. You're gonna ask the best car in the world. You're gonna have two. You're gonna ask a mansion, a palace like so big. You're gonna have. So all night the guy is like this. In the morning he woke up, like he didn't sleep. He's very stressed. So the genius came back. He said, okay, do you make a decision? And the guy said, I thought all night. Poke my eye. Instead of asking something that will bring him, because he was jealous by anticipation, right. He asked the genius to poke one of his eyes so the neighbor can be blind and he can still have an advantage on him. And that's the nature of human being. Or another very quick story, scorpion who wants to cross the river, he's on the shore, he asked the rabbit, can I go on your back and you swim with me on the back? And the rabbit said, you're gonna kill me. I mean, I will be stupid. If I kill you, we both die. They say, okay, fair enough. Okay, jump on my back. They go half the river, the scorpion hit the rabbit. The rabbit doesn't say, it's like, why did you hit me? It's my nature. So human nature, it's hard to go against that. Yeah. You can just contain it and see, because what we are at the end of the day, we are energy. What we produce is energy. What's money? It's energy. What's relationship is energy. So I believe you can just decide where you channel the energy. Instead of channeling energy, it's something that's going to destroy you and make you not move on. Put your energy into something that's going to motivate, inspire, and make you move forward. I really believe someone who is successful, who made the most of his life, is someone who starts controlling his own energy. Every morning we wake up, we have a new opportunity. We have a new chance to do stuff. What you going to do today? This is what I'm asking myself every day. And this is what I really encourage everyone. And it's okay to look, it's okay to get inspired, but don't compare yourself. Everyone has different life and destiny.
Let's talk about energy a bit more, but also from like the religious perspective, right? I remember when Mo was here, one thing I told him was like when I became 40, I look back and I realized a lot of the things that I thought I did in life, I'm working hard. I'm like, it's all through God, the universe, right? And one thing I always say is, God doesn't say jump and then something jumps. No, he creates processes, systems, energy so that things can create. What's the link between yoga and faith, and how can someone use it so that they can channel it to their advantage?
It's a very good question. Who goes with one of my current projects? I'm trying to write a book where I can find the bridges between yoga and Islam. Why Islam? Because it's my religion, and I felt I'd never been so much closer to my religion, to my faith, since I'm doing yoga. Right, so it's been 9 years, like maybe 10 years now. So I just came back from Umrah 2 months ago. Something that I didn't even thought I was doing or wanted to do, and it was an opportunity that I seized, and I'm very grateful. So I like to look at things, what bring people together, one bring concept, region together, rather than look at what's, like set them apart, because I guess there's a lot of things that set them apart and enough people who claim that. So I really believe there's much more bridges than anything else, because at the end of the day, we are energy, we are human, we almost the same. Everyone wants to be healthy, wealthy, enjoy the relationship. So we're in the same boat, basically. We're in the same journey. Maybe we take different direction. So specifically to Islam, just look at the way the prayer is done and the way the Surya Namaskar, which is the sun salutation, one of the basic fundamentals of the Hatha Yoga is done. First of all, there is a mat, a yoga mat, and a carpet. So we pray on the carpet. So why? This is like an interesting question. Why do we need? Because there's the idea of a sanctuary. When you're on your mat or when you are on your carpet, it's between you and the force that is above. So it's like a window, a gate, Technically, whatever happened out of the mat, in the meantime, either if you practice or meditate, either if you pray, and it can be the same also with the Christianity, the Judaism, like all the religion, they have this idea of closing, have a sanctuary, a place where it's holy, a place where it's purified, when you can really release your soul and have a direct connection, If we look at the mechanism of praying in Islam, is very particular. The arklats, stand up, bending, knees, head down, knees, 75% is the same as the Surya Namaskar. Standing, arms open, bending forward, trying to see what make me go to yoga. It's the medical aspect and the health aspect. So the Surya Namaskara or the sun salutation has a way of stimulating all the endocrinian system, endocrine gland inside the body, what produce the hormones and what regulate the hormones. For example, the pineal gland with the level of melatonin. So when you bend forward, it's to bring the blood flow to your pineal gland. When you bring your forehead on the floor when you pray, it's similar to bringing your third eye in a child pose. Also to increase the blood flow. I can spend 2 hours giving you the parallel between, the asanas, which is the position, like the posture in yoga, and some of the positions. So at the end of the day, my book will try to compile like everything about it. What is important, it's the objective. It's not so much the mechanism, it's the objective, because trust me, on parallel, there's so much bridges. The objective, first objective, I would say, it's the health of the body. Because any physical activities, if you want to look at yoga really in terms of medical aspect, you just want to move all the liquid you have inside the body. The blood flow, which has the nutrients, the lymphatic system, the immune system, for the fascia to be healthy, for the biomechanic, for the kinetic chain, all the metabolic system in the body needs movement. When you stop moving, your cells are dying, right? So I guess there is this common idea of keep working. So it's just different way. For example, in Islam, 5 times per day at strategic parts of the day, sunrise, sunset, But it's the idea of bringing things in motion. Motion is important for human. Then there is the idea of keeping the mental health, right? And this is common to all the religion, because before everything, I don't think any God, any believer, or any force needs us to pray. I guess it's a favor that we do for ourselves, right? So it's a guideline that helps us having clarity, avoiding depression, avoiding anxiety, just by, once again, bringing your soul, mind, and body together in a common activities. So there is so many bridges, not just with Islam, but with pretty much all the religion. And I think that's why I start working with the government here in Dubai, because my background is Arab, I am Muslim, and my yoga, it's really medical. So at the beginning, I remember 10 years ago, it was always a bit delicate, because yoga is also part of the Hinduism, to mix religions or, promote this religion or this religion. But the fact that I'm taking distance about the spirituality and focusing more on the medical aspects, it really helped me, create bridge. And like I can show you, I did a class with the sheikhas and with the women and retire like Emiratis here, and it was really fantastic because we were focusing not so much on yoga but on create the movement for the joint to stay healthy, for the mind, and it was really emotional because we gave a platform for people to share, right? Either if it's yoga or if anything else. So the movement, the sharing, and the care that we have for each other, this is beautiful. And yoga, it's one way to do it. It's my way. There's another way as well, like other ways. But anything has to do with fitness, running, sports in general, wellness, well-being, mental health, emotional balance, community, all these things, it's things that bring us together, regardless of who we pray, who we believe in, who we're from. What's matter is that where we want to go together as a community, as a society, as people who live in one of the most amazing place on earth. I've been here for 20 years. I've seen like Dubai
Old
evolving.
Dubai,
And yeah, I even broke a Guinness World Record with the highest amount of nationality doing yoga together, 135, 37, with 10,000 people in Zabil Park. So I don't know any other place where we actually can do that, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answered the question.
You know, one thing I want to ask you, I guess maybe it's an important question because now we live in a social media age, right? You know, just listening to what you just shared now, you've been doing this for 9 years, written a book, working with the Dubai government, had one of the biggest, you know, Guinness World Record yoga. But there are a lot of wellness experts today. So, because it's easy, right? Because social media, you can just come up and there might be some advice that people give that might not be, you know, in the best interest. And I've heard a few. How do you draw the line, right? Like, how do you choose and say, okay, you know what, this is someone I should listen to versus some 21-year-old who you know, who watched 3 videos and now he thinks a wellness expert and they're giving advice.
How do I draw the line, or how people can draw the line?
How people should draw the line? Yeah.
I think people are smart, and the access that we have to all this information. You see, we say in yoga there's no good teacher. There is people that you resonate with. It's as simple as that. So even if someone is 21 years old, maybe there is something to learn out of that. There's a lot of scammer, you know. There's a lot of people who actually pretend they want to help and it's not genuine. I guess they usually see them very fast. Thanks, you know. Thanks to our brain and thanks to the offer. But there's no recipe. I think, if you want to listen, see where it's going. But whoever is promoting well-being, even if it's not the expert that the person claimed to be, it's fine. I have no problem with that. See, I've been working with like UFC champions and box champions. And so they usually give you a credit because into their practice, they've been working with, you know, major coaches. And just look at the background and look at if the person is saying something that makes sense for you. But don't be scared, because anyone that pushes you to do better for your mind, better for your body, I think is a good advice to take. It doesn't really matter.
On the contrary, how can people make this a priority, right? Because we hear the term mental health all the time. But most people are, you know, might just be like a trend. How do I wake up and say, okay, I want this to be a key part of my life moving forward, and what are the steps I can take to make it a priority in my life?
Everyone wants to go to paradise, but no one wants to die. That's the main thing. So I guess, unfortunately, people who go through a healing journey are people who had something that happened to their health or to their life, and this will happen to everyone. So I just think it's about the moment. It's the right moment when you feel like something's wrong. Then you start looking for answers and mechanism. My approach is to use stretching. Why? Because it's accessible to everyone. Either you have a very high level in fitness, either you're a beginner, either you're overweight, either you never do anything. Because you can moderate. It gives you a connection, an immediate connection between your pain, your tightness, the tension of your body and the stress level. So your body will accumulate tensions because of the emotion you don't want to deal with, basically. One day it has to explode, and this is the day when you want to start bringing things together. So I advise everyone, very simple, to start with stretching if you're not comfortable, because it can be intimidating to go to Pilates class or yoga class or stretching class. You can do it at home now. With YouTube, there's a lot of resources.
Yeah.
You can reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Really, I believe stretching is the best door to first identify what's wrong in your body and identify your level of mental health. So someone who doesn't feel good will be agitated, won't be able to stay still. I mean, in one session, I can now with experience give you a full scoop of what's need to be improved in terms of attention, in terms of emotional health, in terms of course, physical. Physical, you feel the first. You feel your hamstring are tight, it's hurting, you don't want to hold. And then this is where the tools start. Breath work to overcome the pain. Meditation to stabilize your mind. And regularity, consistency to improve. In less than a month, you can have tremendous changes into your life. And all my clients and long-term students, they usually introduce me to the husband or to the wife, and then to the father or to the mother, and then I start working with all the families, especially with people who don't want to do yoga, who hate yoga, but then because it's beyond yoga. Yeah. So this is my advice: try stretching. It's a very, very strong. Trying to find the right word. Strong wake-up call, I would say.
Yeah.
It will make you
to transition.
Exactly. It will make you go there.
Okay. But it's also a very simple thing to do. You worked with, as you mentioned, pro boxers. You work with UFC, Overeem, I believe you work with him. You work with top level CEOs, and I've seen trainers that are like, let's climb the mountain and let's lift cars and have a certain mindset to success. But I
know who you're referring to.
Yeah, I don't want to say because I don't want to be called to the top of the mountain, right?
But we see them. It's their approach of performance,
right? But then you have a totally different approach, right? Are they leading to the say? Is there more of like a preference? Is there pro or cons?
I deal with people who manage 100,000 of employees and worth billions, actual billions, not social media billions, like people you don't see in social media.
Yeah.
You don't have time for that. I would say the common language, it's to listen. If you want to speak, you have to listen. Mm-hmm. Blindly pushing people to performance, it might work with some of them, but it might destroy others because it's not necessarily what they need here. So if it's done with compassion and empathy, why not? And if it works at the end of the day, why not? Right. It's not my approach. I don't scream at people for them to do something. Even though I train with the Russian Special Forces, the Spetsnaz, so I know it's to be tough and I know it's to fight. But it's just depend who you talk to. Right. Yeah. And I would say there's no standard. If you look at my pages and all my content, I don't usually show stretch. I usually like to show the podcast because it's a very good way for people to start understanding what's behind. But I don't think you should standardize things. If you show something, if you see something, or no, you show actually something, or on the other hand, if you receive the information of looking at something that happened, climbing this, pushing that, it might just increase the frustration, and make you feel like, wow, I'm quite far, from that. When you just not standardize things, then you start doing tailor-made stuff, and I guess this is what works the best, definitely. So yeah, I'm not judging.
Right.
I'm just saying like it's different approach, and I'm happy there is different approach because there's different needs, there's different people. But from my experience, I would say athletes, especially champions, and serious CEOs, people who carry on their shoulders the life of thousands of people, they usually need more calm, more serenity,
right,
more self-perception, understanding, and evolution to move to the next level of the journey, of the life journey. rather than just, because you can go to any gym and have
Right.
people like screaming at you because you're not pushing.
1,000 push-ups. I haven't done 10 in 20 years.
We need this sometime, but not. I don't think it's long term. It might not be the.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm more of the calm method.
Yeah.
I've got enough chaos going on. The last thing I need is
Exactly. I mean, life is very stressful, especially in big city like Dubai or Paris or New York. Or Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, you need time to reflect.
Yeah.
And it's more precious than just working out. Working out is very accessible. You can go to any gym, do any CrossFit, any things.
Yeah.
But reflection is something that we don't do anymore.
Yeah.
We used to do it.
Yeah.
Before the smartphone, we had no choice.
Yeah.
Either you read a book, either you do nothing.
Absolutely.
Now we always have to do something.
Attach something.
Yeah, you have to do something. No, I don't have to do anything. Please give me a break. I'm just gonna pray. I'm just gonna meditate. I'm just gonna do yoga. I'm just gonna walk. Disconnect. To reconnect.
Unbelievable. You know why I love flying is because it's time for me to disconnect. I fly,
of course. Yeah.
I'm like no one. I can just be in my zone.
I'm developing a program to help C-level leaders to train them during their private flights because they usually have 2-3 hours. When they can't really work and they need to disconnect to be performance when. So we're working on some,
nice
mentorship,
Nice.
But yeah, let me give you a silly example, but it's really, really important. The bathroom time. Before smartphone, we had nothing to do. When we were doing number 2, we were just waiting for the nature to process. Now, when is the last time you've been to the bathroom?
Do you know something crazy?
Without your phone.
I used to read like the back of the shampoo. I had hair. Like I'd be like that was like my method of. I swear, I'm like, oh, I forgot to make. As men, I think we always wanted to distraction to read something.
But reading is good.
Yeah, but now.
No, just doing nothing. Just like and. What were you doing basically? Like think about your day, think about what happened today, what you're gonna do. So it's a form of meditation. Might sound very dirty and silly, but it's definitely something. Yeah. See, I think we lost all these small islands of meditation during our day, and we just swim. We just swim. We don't sit on the shore and rest. That's why now and moving forward, especially with AI and all this, technology overload. You see, AI wants people to be smarter. I don't think we need to be smarter. I think we're really quite smart. I think we need to be more human.
Yeah.
And the main reason that I see, and I'm not against technology. I love technology, like people from my generation. But I think what we need now is more humanity than really technology or smart to be like more intelligent. I think we need to rediscover who we are through different process. And look at the retreat, for example. How many retreat everywhere in Bali, in India, everyone wants to do the retreat. But they do retreat, they don't even really come back with the real benefit.
Yeah.
But I see they come back either with certificates, one more award they can put on Instagram, I did a retreat, now I'm almost Buddha, it doesn't work this way.
No.
So,
There's a show called Boardwalk. I don't know if you've heard. Great show.
Okay.
Great show. Watched it over 10 years ago. So I remember there's a scene and the guy goes something, I'm paraphrasing, but do you know what leads or what led to the downfall of a man? And the other guy says no. He says their inability to sit in a room alone.
Oof.
Right? And it just literally hit me because it's so true. We can't sit alone, we can't think alone, and
we can.
We can. Yeah, of course.
If you practice, that's the thing.
If you practice,
it's like football. It's like anything. If you don't practice,
it's not gonna get better.
You don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah. And one other thing I want to add is that I've read a lot of successful biographies, a lot of successful people, Ray Dalio, Bill Gates, you name it. And a lot of them would say that one commonality that they had among all of them is that they all meditate. And I'm like, okay, if these guys are meditating, clearly there's something to it. One question I want to ask you is, let's say we're having this conversation 10 years from now.
Okay.
What would you want to have happen to say, what, this mission that you're on is actually successful?
Honestly, I didn't want to change anything. I don't want to change anything because it's my journey. Even if I could talk to myself 10 years ago and say, look, there's this, I won't say anything. I won't say anything, and I don't want me 10 years ago, like 10 years from now, to say anything to me now. I just think everything is perfect. Not just for me, but life, there's a certain perfection into life, and there's abundance into life. There's things that you can manifest, the things that you can learn how to live with, and focusing. See, your question also past and future. I really want to focus now on every breath. You see, my book, every inhale is a blessing. Every exhale is a healing. If you learn how to heal, and if you learn how to cherish, be grateful at the present moment, really, you cannot have a bad life. Really, like even whatever happened to you, you will find wisdom in the difficulty and pleasure into the enjoyable moments.
I love that. So basically, enjoy that journey. Don't kind of what you said earlier. Don't have too much expectation.
Don't expect.
I see you wearing these cool. A lot of your interviews. What's the story behind it?
Rudraksha. I have a gift for you. That's for you.
Appreciate that.
Those are Rudraksha.
Thank
Came
you.
from Nepal. The one you're wearing, they have
Thank
maybe nearly 100 years old. It's very hard to find original one. It's very hard to explain in a few minutes, but basically it's a fossilized fruits that grow into very specific area, and it's very spiritual entities that absorb energy. According to the different layers, the mukis, those one are 5 and 6 mukis, it enhances your mental health and your physical health and your mind clarity. I meditate with that. It's a part of me now. It's very strong for the Hindu. It decorates the tears of Shiva. Sadhguru did a video on YouTube who explained for 20 minutes all of this, but just use it as a reminder to be grateful and a reminder that nothing really matters. And we are just a wind to the humanity, and you just want to enjoy the ride rather than try to control everything.
I think I'm going to hold on to this for a long time because we certainly need those reminders. Last question. I know it's been an insightful interview. Really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I can feel the energy of what you're doing and the impact that you're trying to make. Really, it's a great thing. Anybody watching this right now and they want to achieve their own freedom, what do you think, or what would you suggest or advise that they do to get on that path?
First of all, to understand what freedom means for them, because a mother will not have the same freedom than an older man, than a kid, and I guess when you understand what freedom means for you and to you, then you don't need my advice. I think everything will appear.
Amazing. Allaoua, my brother, appreciate that.
Man,
thank you so much.
I appreciate it. It was amazing, man.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed making this for you, and till the next one. Thank you.
And see you on your mat soon.
Yes, all of us. Absolutely.